and welcome back to the CrossFit Games Process Programming Update Show. Today in the studio, it is myself, Ed Haynes, and with me is my brother, Ant Haynes.
Hello.
We are here to talk about 21.2, our thoughts, our learnings, our lessons. What are we going to take forward moving into the future from what we learned from this workout? Firstly, Ant, how many times did you do this workout?
In total, I've now done it 4 times, but I only did it once this year.
Well done.
Thank you.
Because 21.1 you did 3 times.
17.1.
17.1.
I did 3 times, yes.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so how did you go this year relative to 2017?
Oh, well, you know, numbers are just a figure.
Ain't they just a figure?
Hey.
Don't mean nothing.
But I was slightly fitter than 2017, but way less in the hurt locker than 2017. Much better understanding of how to complete the movements, how to moderate the movements, how to control the cadence. And like I said, yeah, it was a much easier workout this time than it was last. If I was to do it again, I definitely think I could shave off a lot of time from this year's one. But, you know, just the one attempt was enough this year.
Yeah, well, I concur with all of those thoughts. The only difference is I went slower, 12 seconds slow. But there was lots of wins for me in that workout. Like you said, it was good to see a lot of dumbbell work over the last 3 to 4 years pay off, because the position just felt way better overhead for me, and definitely felt like I could handle that volume of repetitions much, much better than I did in 2017. Yeah. So looking at our community now, and speaking about the process programming community in general, pretty much everyone, I really don't know anyone other than myself and Alex Younger who actually went slower. So that's really, really good. It is a tough one though. A lot of people kind of using repeat workouts as a means of gauging their fitness. Yeah. And I think when you look at it in its purest essence, you know, if you went faster in this workout, that should indicate that you are a fitter athlete. But you know, such a big part of this sport that we always talk about is the importance of strategy and pacing. And sometimes someone with the exact same level of capacity, just with a different strategy, you know, can shave minutes off their time in this workout. And so what I definitely saw as well, especially within our community, is not only hopefully, you know, improved levels of capacity, fitness, muscle endurance, positions, which are all things tested in this workout, but just a little bit more awareness of pacing and strategy. And some people, you know, had a really drastically different approach this year relative to what they did 4 years ago, and had, you know, huge results there. Yeah,
for sure. I think the CrossFit community as a whole just understands pacing a little bit more now. You know, the fact that if you finish the 30 snatches and the 15 burpee box jump, you're only halfway through the workout. You know, I think a lot of people who are new to the sport in our community found that out behind the camera. Kiara Jim found that out, wanting to go unbroken, went unbroken through 30s, and then suddenly got to the 40s and went, oh shit, like only halfway through the workout here and it's going to get real. But I think, like you said, the people who have learned from it, it's okay to start slower. It's okay to start in a more controlled state and then be able to pick it up as you go through the workout.
Yeah, kind of reflecting back on programming in terms of how we've prepped our athletes. I would say actually the first 2 workouts that have come out in the Open this year, we've actually done, I think, really, really well as a programming team prepping our athletes for. Definitely done a lot of those movements. We've done a lot of these 2 movements. I think something I've definitely I've taken away, someone who writes the LPC program for this workout, was that the aftermath of 21.2 was, I would say, pretty. It was pretty impactful on people's bodies. I certainly know that I had kind of 3 days of DOMS and still feel like I'm mentally a bit foggy from it. But I do know that a lot of our community as well kind of just felt that volume of the dumbbell snatches, coupled with a burpee, which is also a hinging movement, not a flexion extension of the spine, is just taken them a lot longer to recover from. And I think from a training perspective, what we have seen in the past CrossFit Opens now is the tendency to test sometimes uncomplementary combinations of movements. For example, I always think of the pistol clean and jerk workout from last year, but also, you know, really just much bigger volumes of repetitions inside workouts. And I think actually, and truth be told here, we talked about this as a team when the Open kind of schedule first got announced, and we talked about what tests we would see repeated. We all said on our team 17.1 would probably be the test to be repeated. We actually have a spreadsheet here which basically lists every potential workout that could be retested based on the equipment requirements of stage 1, and the first one on the list is 17.1. We actually didn't test it for 2 reasons. Number one, a lot of the gyms were closed at the time, so we just didn't have that as many people as we normally did on the process program, because I thought it would be a really good test to do that might potentially get retested.
Yeah.
We were kind of just waiting for gyms to open up again, and it never did. So we kind of missed out an opportunity there. But again, something I've learned from is knowing how much volume of snatching and hinging in this workout would have probably set our community back a few days, which you don't really want in a training run in that close to the open. So good lessons, again, that we'll definitely take into next year. In terms of kind of thinking about programming based on the first 2 workouts we've seen in the CrossFit Open, if we're to take anything from these first 2 tests and think about the next CrossFit Open, what are some of the things that you would take away from this end?
Well, we're looking at simplicity to start. There's been nothing that no one can do, really. Everyone can do a wall where everyone can get their first double under. Everyone do a burpee box jump over and your dumbbell snatch. We're looking at longer duration. You obviously have within the open anywhere, it has been classically anywhere between like a 2-minute, for example, the 10-to-1 dumbbell front squat, bar facing burpee, up to 20 minutes. These previous 2 workouts have been anywhere really between 10 to 20 minutes for the majority of people. So that's like the time domain you're going to train. Like you said, a fairly complementary movements generally, but this year it seems to have gone against that. Double unders and pressing work with the wall walk, and then obviously hinging, and then another hinging movement on the burpee box jump over. So I mean, it's hard. It's so hard. But of course, in terms of training going forward, I think the things that will always pay off for like movement-based work and quality-based work within them. You can't predict the movements that come out, but you can always improve positions of every movement that you do, which of course will improve your efficiency on each workout that you hit. Yeah,
and I think often the workouts are prescribed to kind of try prove a point to people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the intention this year. We never really know. But what I do know is that, the basics are something we still have to always master. A lot of people probably spend a lot of time focusing on the fancy things like muscle ups and handstand walking and heavy barbell movements, where we haven't seen any of those things yet.
Yeah.
And again, they've still been really great tests. Now, when you look at the tests so far out, you've had 2 out of 3 weeks. We've only got 1 week left for those who are looking at stage 1, the CrossFit Open, whose journey will not continue to stage 2. What do you think in terms of, have we seen a balanced set of tests so far? We've talked about kind of the simplicity of the workouts. What are your thoughts?
Like I just said, obviously we've only tested a couplet, really. Both had ascending rep schemes.
Longer duration.
Kind of non-complementary to each other.
Lighter loads,
some simple movements. In terms of the next workout, I do think we'll see a barbell. I do think we'll see a pull-up bar. So that immediately just heightens the complexity of the workout and heightens the skill requirement for the athlete to succeed in that, whether it's a snatch or a clean and jerk or just a power clean or a shoulder to overhead or even a deadlift. And then you got obviously the pull-up bar, which generally in the CrossFit Open will require some form of kipping understanding and capacity there. So I think those are the only 2 pieces of equipment left, I believe, from the initial equipment list they set out. So I'd assume, just from what it is, they love putting thrusters in. So I assume it's going to be like a thruster pull-up or a thruster toes to bar combination. Or I am hoping for something which we'll test a little bit more, because it's only been couplets and it's only been 10 to 20 minute workouts. So I'd like to see Castro test something that's a little bit more encompassing, where you have like a two-parter to it. So maybe it's like a thruster toes, like a clean and jerk toes to bar, then a thruster chest to bar or something like that, where it's scored as 2 different things, but you're just using the same piece of equipment, but you can make it a little bit more savage.
You just saying that, this is probably quite lame, but I actually just had a dream last night that the clean and jerk toes to bar ascending ladder got programmed. Yeah. I just had remembered that.
Yeah.
I do think for this last workout we're going to see 2 parts. I know I've been saying that every single week, but he did indicate that there was going to be more than 3 tests this year. You're right, the barbell and the pull-up bar are 2 mandatory pieces of equipment. Potentially we could see a really big separator here on this last week, and a lot can change. So if you are someone that's been kind of looking at getting at that stage 2, the top 10% of the world, and you're not in that position right now, don't fret. A lot can change in just 1 week. 2 very simple workouts so far, which means the leaderboard is just wide open. With that said, kind of to bear in mind, my takeaway is that the top 10% of the world is a pretty large proportion of people relative to what we've had in the Opens of the past. Regionals, you only saw the top 1% of people moving on to the next stage, whether in individuals and teams. They've increased that tenfold now. And so with that said, yes, a lot of good athletes may be arguing that the tests are too simple, but when you look at the top 10% of the world, all those athletes are still there. And for the athletes who are looking to progress to the CrossFit Games or get close, it's not about stage 1. the actions are going to start in stage 2 and stage 3 if you get there.
Yeah.
So with that said, this may be something we see now, is that stage 1 of the CrossFit Open is going to go back to kind of like Opens of the past, which is a lot lighter, a lot more kind of on the metabolic conditioning side of things, a lot more inclusive, which I think is really great because they still have 2-3 more stages to really test better athletes with more comprehensive tests. Okay, so Ant, let's finish with your prediction for the workout for next week. What did we guess last week?
I don't think. Did we guess last week?
Guess last week. So basically, we're 100% right now because we pretty much nailed.
Well, there's no hint from Castro yet, but
you don't think he's just going to program every single? We're going to see a squat, snatch, deadlift, front squat, thruster, clean and jerk, and we're going to see toes to bar, pull up, chest to bar, and bar muscle ups. You don't think?
Maybe not. No, okay. I don't think so. No. I do think it will be quite simple though in terms of movements. I'm going to go the 2-parter again. I'll go something like a 21-15-9 because he's loving the descending and ascending rep schemes right now. I'll go a 21-15-9 of power cleans and toes to bar, followed by a 9-15-21 of a Fran style thruster and pull-ups, or thruster and chest to bar, sorry, with a rest in the middle of the two. I think there'll be a programmed 3 to 5 minute rest in the middle there.
Nice. So basically you're saying he would have just copied the process programming test. Did we not have a test that was really similar to that? Oh no, we did one for the LPC.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, my prediction this week is going to be a 2-part workout, but we're going to see some form of heavy lift in part B, because I think we're going to have some form of strength test. We are going to go with the strength test is going to be it's going to be a snatch. It's going to be a snatch for part B, and the test, the part A will be something similar to what you said, Ant. I think we're going to see toes to bar as the gymnastics movement, and I think we may see a thruster toes to bar, or an overhead squat toes to bar.
Clean and jerk toes to bar.
A clean and jerk toes to bar. I think, perhaps then I think the part B might be a clean and jerk. Please no.
His lowest ever finish on the open leaderboard.
Okay, folks, let's not dig into that last point. Let's leave this on a good note, which is if you have done the first 2 workouts so far, well done you. Let's finish this open strong. 1 more week to go. To those of you who are sitting in the top 10% spot and your goal is to get to stage 2, epic work. Keep on fighting. And let's see where the leaderboard shapes up regardless. Something from us is that next week we will be talking, of course, about 21.3, but we'll also be talking about what we're going to be doing here at the Process Programming, changing things up a little bit for next year, giving our athletes, our online subscribers, a little bit more of a chance to individualize their training even more. So super excited about those plans that we have going on and excited about sharing them with you. Good luck, everyone. See you at 21.3. Woo!